Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Tori. Today I'm going to be going through my reading plans for the year 2023, and most of that will consist of major series that I intend to start in 2023 and any major big reads. I will also be talking a little bit about my channel plans for 2023 and stuff. So let's get into it. Alright, let's get started with some of the major series that I plan to read in 2023. I have quite a stack here, to be perfectly honest, and it is very ambitious, and I'm trying really hard not to overload myself with books that belong to big series in 2023, and I know as soon as I say that and you guys end up watching this video, you're gonna be like, girl. There will probably be other series that I end up attempting in 2023 as well. Most of this is me trying to have a little bit of self-control, as I am also planning on releasing my first epic fantasy novel in the year 2023, and I have to be a little realistic with the fact that I can't read all the books and write the book at the same time. One of the ones that you'll see on my shelf, Jade City by Fonda Lee, is definitely on my radar. I really want to get to that because I know from a lot of people's recommendation that I will probably absolutely love it. I'm not gonna lie that the hype surrounding the Green Bone saga has definitely caused me to take a little bit of a step back, and the only reason for that is not that I doubt the hype in any way, shape, or form, but I tend to like to remove myself from really strong opinions about series before I start them, so I'm giving myself a chance to kind of step back from that a little bit and give it some time to remove all of the crazy amounts of hype in my ears right now about that series, because I really like to go into a series as blank slate as possible and give it a chance to have my own experience with the book and not be as colored by other people's, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. If that makes sense, let me know. Anyways, moving on. This one. So I have talked on my channel quite a bit this year about my goal to read The Lord of the Rings officially for the first time in the year 2023. I grew up on the Peter Jackson films. They were a huge part of my gateway into fantasy. I love them so freaking much. I've started Fellowship of the Ring multiple times, but I always get stuck on Tom Bombadil. He's just not my cup of tea. It sounds horrible to say I don't care. I'm so sorry, but it's true. I'm gonna try and get through these. I think for me, honestly, what is going to make the deciding factor of whether or not I get through this trilogy in 2023 is whether or not I can get my hands on the Andy Serkis audiobook versions, because I think that that will actually really help me, because having a voice that I recognize and can follow and feel like is more familiar, I think is actually going to go a long way to helping me get through this trilogy. Next up is one of the books that I mentioned in my books that I'm too chicken to read, The Forgetting Moon by Brian Lee Durfee, and this, I believe, is the yes, Five Warrior Angels is the name of the trilogy. I know that Lonesome Crown just came out recently. I do have books 1 and 2. Book 2 is Blackest Heart. There we go. So I do have I actually read the opening chapter prologue of this book a little bit ago when I was kind of taste testing some things to see what I wanted to read, and I really liked the opening of this book, and I have heard a lot of really good things about it, and so I am looking forward to getting through these chonkers in 2023, because just the opening that I read really felt like something that I would enjoy. We'll see if that continues through the book, but I have hopes that this one will be a fun read for me. Next up, I am very excited to say that I am officially putting the Echoes saga by Philip Quaintrell on my list. Now, Philip is somebody that I've recently met through Twitter, but I have heard his name around the South Pub and indie fantasy circles prior to this. I know Patrick is a big fan of his. He's really done well with this series, and this is a series that I don't hear talked about on BookTube that much, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised, because from everything I have heard about it, it's amazing. And so I picked up book 1, which is Rise of the Ranger. I have high hopes for this series. I don't honestly know that much what to expect from it, but I'm really excited, and Philip I've gotten a chance to chat with a little bit on Twitter, and he seems like a really awesome guy, and so I definitely am excited to check out this series and see what the Echo Saga is all about. All right. I know you guys are laughing at me right now because how many of my TBR videos has this book been on? It's fine. It's fine. Just let me have it. So I put this one to the side because I had taken a step back to focus a lot more on Indie and South Pub this fall, and I've really loved that experience, and I'm still going to be doing a lot of that in the year 2023. This is happening, okay? Like, I have been wanting to read this for so long. I know that the First Law trilogy is probably going to be one I really jive with and really love. It's very, very heavily character focused, which is something I love, and I've been kind of saving it for a rainy day, to be perfectly honest. I was so focused on a lot of the indie reads that I've been loving, and I wanted to set this one aside for a time when I felt like I was in a reading slump and I really needed a fantasy novel that was going to pull me out of that and give me some delicious character work and descriptions and environment and all of the things. I'm trying to decide if I'm ready to vlog another series like this. I'm kind of leaning towards doing it, honestly, because I think it would be really fun to share that experience with you guys, because I know a lot of people have been waiting for me to read this very, very patiently, so thank you for that. And now, one of my major goals in 2023, like one of my biggest reading goals in 2023, is getting back into this. Malazan Book of the Fallen is a series that I read almost 10 years ago. Started almost 10 years ago. I read Gardens of the Moon, Dead House Gates, Memories of Ice, and House of Chains, and the very beginning of Midnight Tides, I think not even like 3-4 years ago maybe. It has had such a profound impact on me just in those 4 books that I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to continue the series. It was so much at the time. I was going through so many things in my life, and it was speaking to so many things that I really needed to read in a book back in my early 20s, and now I am really looking forward to getting back into it, reading Steven Erikson's incredible human experience writing, and coming at it in a completely different stage of life. I'm really looking forward to that. I am excited to have this experience with one of my favorite series of all time and actually get through to the last book, The Crippled God, which I actually have a copy of. I've been slowly collecting the books. I have The Crippled God, so I do have the last book. I still need to get some of the other ones, but that being said, I'm just really looking forward to this. This one, as weird as it sounds, is a comfort read for me, and I look at it as a comfort reread. And then once I get to book 5 and I'm delving into parts of the series that I am completely unfamiliar with, it's going to be really fun to have that reading for the first time Malazan experience again, and I can't wait. And I know that there are a ton of people reading this series next year in the read-alongs, and I'm just excited. I've been wanting to reread this series and get through all 10 books for quite a long time. I'm very excited. I'm a little nervous. I'm not intimidated by it. I had no idea that this was an intimidating series when I was 20 and knew nobody in the fantasy community. So I think I kind of got a head start that way, where I don't have the same kind of like, ooh, that's really intimidating that everybody else has. I totally get it, don't get me wrong. But to me it feels like going back home in a way. Like, that sounds super sentimental, but it's really true. Moving on, another book that I know has been a big recommendation for me from a lot of people that I cannot wait to get into is The Dandelion Dynasty by Ken Liu. I know that this series is like so good from so many people. I'm very excited to read it. I think it's gonna be right up my alley, but I honestly have no idea. I have no idea what to expect. I'm going into this pretty blind. I know that Ken Liu brought in a lot of historical influence into this series, so I love that. I'm always looking for new experiences involving Asian history, and so I'm very excited to read this because I think it's gonna check a lot of boxes for me. Can't wait. Literally cannot wait for this series. Last but not least, this is not a series. That being said, it's a chunk. It's one of those. And that is Shogun by James Clavell. I was able to get my hands on this absolutely stunning special edition copy of this book. I love it. It's so beautiful. I really want to read this, and I know that this is another read-along that's happening, I think, in January. I cannot wait to read this book. I'm really looking forward to it because I think I've read a lot of books that are told from the viewpoint of people who are natives to the different Asian countries, Japan, Korea, China, but it's also really interesting for me as an outsider to read a book that's told from the perspective of an outsider coming in and just experiencing and seeing a lot of the amazing history and culture that Japan has. I feel like this is going to be a really, really solid read for me. I'm excited, but I'm not going to lie. I mean, look at this. This will be my longest single book read since these lovely creatures over here, the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson, and I got burned out so hard on those. Like, a 1,200 page book is a lot. It's a lot. It's going to help, I think, that there are a lot of other people I know that are going to be getting through at least part of or all of Shogun in the month of January. And it's going to feel amazing to be able to say that I've read it. So that's going to get added to the giant stack on my right over here of books that I'm going to be reading. I would also like to say that these are all series that are established / finished, and that's why I mention them. I have so many books to get to next year, you guys. It's gonna be nuts. I have huge stacks of indie and self-pub fantasy novels that I'm gonna be reading next year, so there will still be a ton of that kind of content on my channel. But a lot of those are coming from series that are not finished, which is one of the reasons why I put Philip Quaintrell's book in this list, because the Echo Saga is finished. So most of those are from authors that are still working on their series, so I didn't really count them in the like massive series. Let's talk about channel goals. So next year, it's gonna be crazy, you guys. As most of you know, I took a giant break from BookTube between 2021 and 2022, and I needed that break. I was working through a lot of mental health stuff, things were a little bit crazy, and I needed the time to work on my personal life before I was ready to get back in front of a camera. I am so glad that I took the break, and I am so glad that I came back. I am so thankful to everyone in the community that I have made friends with, that I have had discussions with, that I've been inspired by just watching, reading, and learning from all of you. And I can't wait to see what 2023 has in store. I feel great. I am ready to go. If you haven't already seen, I did have the first imposter syndrome episode this past Friday night. It was everything. It was everything I could have asked for. It's been kind of my secret baby project for the last 2 to 3 months. I knew that I wanted to have a really chill kind of writer's room, candid conversations show that was a monthly feature on my channel, and the first episode was perfect. It was so great, and a huge thank you to Andrew Meredith, Chago Abdallah, and Crystal Matar. It was a really amazing, vulnerable discussion, and I'm so proud of what we made in that. So if you haven't gone and watched that, please do, and know that imposter syndrome is here to stay for the year 2023 on my channel. It is going to be a monthly episode wherein I get together with mostly authors, but there are some other episodes planned that involve booktubers, possibly some reviewers. For the year 2023, we're going to be delving into some really great deep topics about writing fantasy. I'm very excited about that, and I will still be planning on doing a lot of author interviews on the side and book discussions and everything, because to me that collaborative love of reading and storytelling is really where so much of the magic in this community happens, so there will be more of that. I would love to see the channel get to between 3,000 and 5,000 subscribers by the end of 2023, and I don't feel like that's a completely crazy goal, to be honest. Depending on how everything goes and what else comes to my channel and what things happen in 2023, anything's possible. Other than that, for the channel, keep an eye out. I am in the process of kind of thinking about how I want to set up a Patreon for the channel. Outside of that, I think that's about it for the channel. All right, last but not least, let's talk about personal goals in 2023. major one, obviously, is to release my first epic fantasy novel. I'm shooting for like a summer 2023, late summer 2023 release date, very, very softly. I'm not promising any dates yet because there's way too many things I have to set up before I can do that. But we do have an official title. And we do have some things coming, the cover, some concept art I'm very excited about. The trilogy title is officially called The Legends of the Bruhai, and the first book will be The Bloodstones. And that will hopefully be coming out sometime late summer 2023, and I will be sharing more details about that with you guys as we move into the beginning of the year. Another personal goal that I'll share with you guys that I have for 2023 is kind of a continuation of something that I really focused on here in 2022, and that is really focusing on spending time with the people in my life that are my inner circle, the people that really are close to me in my, you know, outside of booktube life, making a lot of time for them, going and having those girl dates, having people stay at our house, having people over for dinner, really reconnecting with a lot of those relationships that we are lucky enough to live close to is going to be a big focus for me in 2023, again, because I need my people and I love spending time with my friends and my family, and you guys are definitely an extension of that. That's the general gist of everything. I would love to hear your thoughts on what your goals are, reading, personal, anything, in the comments below. Let me know what your plans are for 2023. Are you joining any of the read-alongs? Are you starting any big series next year? Yeah, so let me know, and thank you so much for being a part of my 2022. I'm so glad that I was able to be a part of yours. Thank you for that. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a great week. I hope you're reading 5-star reads, and I will see you in the next video.